Hi folks, so in this video what we're going to be doing is we're completing a Lebenseur's 2010 question based on the topic of perspective. So it's the 2010 higher level paper, section B, it's actually question B1, okay? So as always with the question, we're going to read the information, then we're going to get started. So just zoom in there now on that. So it says here, the graphic on the right shows Dublin's new rugby and soccer stadium. The modern design is lower in height at one end in order to minimise the impact on local residents. Okay, so I assume they're talking about this section down here. Figure B1 shows the plan and elevation of a portion of a model of the stand at the lower end. A pictorial view of the structure is also shown. So we can see here in figure B1, we've got the elevation here with all our heights that we're going to need. We've got a plan view down here showing it's obviously a rectangle with all our lengths and heights, or lengths and widths, and then we've got the pictorial view here. Okay, part A, draw the given plan, and part B, make a perspective drawing of the structure given the following. The spectator point is 1.8 meters from corner A. The picture plane is touching corner A, and then the horizon line is 2 meters above the ground line. Okay, so first of all, just going to come out to my sheet and explain a little bit that I've done already. I have already done part A, draw the given plan. I've already done that one there, so tick there. So on my sheet, at the top left-hand corner, based on where I'm going to be projecting, based on my spectator here, I'm after drawing in the plan, and from corner A at an angle of 45 degrees, I found my spectator. Now, how did I get all those measurements? Okay, so we're just going to quickly talk about applying this scale here to all of these measurements here. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to take the scale here, which is 1:20. What I usually do inside in class is I say 1:20 is this. Essentially, for every 1 millimeter on my sheet equates to, let's say, 20 millimeters in reality, IR. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to take that scale and apply it in here. So if I look at this section here, this is 2000 millimeters. Okay, so to work out the distance here, which is going to be 100, what do I do? Simple maths, I'm actually going to just do it down here. 2000 divided by 20, get rid of your 0. 200 divided by 2 equals 100. Okay, that's as easy as it is. Okay, if I take the height here, which works out to be 60, that's 1200 divided by 20, get rid of the 0, 120 divided by 2, there's 60. And I essentially applied that process to every measurement here. So length is 100, the width is 85, 65 and 20, and then all these broken down 20, 40, 20, 20, height's going upwards 10, 10, 10, and then we had a height here of 60 as well, and then an angle up here of 30 degrees. Now, if I apply it here to the information here, spectator point is 1.8 meters, so we'll apply that. So it's 1800, get rid of the zeros, 180 divided by 20. So the spectator point is 90 millimeters away from corner A down here. Okay, so on my sheet, that's what I did. From corner A at an angle of 45 degrees, and I measured 90 to get the spectator. The picture plane is touching corner A. Okay, that's useful. And then the horizon line is 2 meters above the ground line. Now 2 meters is 2000 millimeters divided by 20, works out to be 100. So that's kind of how you work out the measurements there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start drawing the perspective drawing of this structure down here on our sheet. So step 1 is already done. We've drawn the plan view and I've located my spectator. So from the spectator, step 1, I'm going to extend out to my furthest left point of the object, my furthest right. What that does is it sets up our cone of vision. Essentially, as a person looks here, that's the furthest right of the object they can see and the furthest left. Now what I have to do is bisect that angle that I'm after creating there. So when I bisect that angle, what it's going to help me do is set up what's known as my line of sight. Okay, there's my bisector. It's very close to the 45 degree line, but it's not on it. Very important. So that line there, I'm actually going to put it in. Use a green. Okay, it may not come up as green exactly on the screen, but it'll be close enough. Now that line there that I'm after putting in green is my line of sight. Really important, because that line of sight is going to dictate to me how I set up my picture plane. So, setting up my sheet here, my set square here on the line of sight that I've just drawn. I'm going to rotate my set square. This is how I do it. 45 degree, rotate it this way, and I can get 45 degrees the other way. Let's go from there, yeah. And what I'm drawing here now that I have that, I can extend it on. That there is my picture plane. So essentially, everything that we see from this object in a while is projected onto the picture plane, but we'll draw the 3D of it down here, the perspective view. Okay, now that I've got the picture plane set up, I need to get ready to set up for my vanishing points. So the faces on my object are going in this direction and this direction, horizontal and vertical. So from the spectator, I'm going to project horizontally across and vertically up. Okay, now at this point, that's not my vanishing point, but I'm going to use that in a minute to set up. Now, at this stage, there's a couple of ways you could go about it. You can do sliding set squares. You could use an adjustable set square. But what I often do to make my life a little bit easier is actually going to rotate my sheet. So I'm going to lift off my masking tape in the corners, and I'm going to set up my T-square so that it's parallel with my picture plane. Okay, so there's just a little bit involved in this. Just going to rotate the sheet there. Might have to move the visualizer there, so apologies for a second. So it comes out nice and neat on my page. Masking tape there a little bit. There we go. Okay, so setting up your T-square, I find will save a lot of hassle later on. So that's my T-square set up there with my picture plane. Just re-stick the masking tape down in the corners. There we go. And finally I'll get this one here. There we go. Okay, now pull this down ever so slightly. I know my plan view is kind of going out of sync there, but I need information down here to be able to see it. Now what I'm going to do is with my T-square down here, I'm going to set up my ground line. Down a little bit further. So I usually put my ground line a good bit down, and what's important to know from the sheet, if you remember, it says the horizon line is 2 meters above the ground line, 100 millimeters. Now I always try and have my horizon line just below my spectator if I can. So if you can see there, it's 100 millimeters below my spectator, 2 meters. So there, I'm going to set up my ground line right down here, just at the bottom of the screen there. So that's my ground line. And 100 millimeters above that is my horizon line. So 0 as far as 10, mark that there. Okay, now that I've done that, this is my horizon line. Now on my horizon line is my 2 vanishing points, which are got from the lines that I projected parallel horizontally originally and vertically. I'm just going to simply project those down. And where they hit the horizon line, that will be VP1. And this point here will be VP2. Okay, they are my 2 vanishing points. Now, very quickly, I'm just going to bring you out to a 3D image of the model. There is our model, okay? That's the actual structure that we're going to have to do. Now, what I'm going to actually do, first of all, if we just look at the structure, you can see here, there's kind of this roof section, which obviously, if I come back out to my sheet, has an angle of 30 degrees. Now, for the first part, I'm going to forget, and I'm going to imagine that that roof section is not on it, okay? And imagine what it would look like without that roof on it, okay? That's how I'm actually going to build it, and then I'm actually going to put on the roof later on. So, if we imagine what it looked like with the roof not on it, just come down here, I have it made already. There we go. That's kind of what it would look like. Something like that there, okay? And we're going to draw this structure first, starting off with the red face, this red face here, and then we'll get all the green faces going back, the flat steps, and the various other sloping surfaces. And then when we have all of that done, what I'm actually going to do then is put the roof on it then. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to build it up first in such a way that the roof is not on it first. And we're going to imagine it's not there. Okay, so to start off, first of all, I want to identify corner A. Corner A is down here on my drawing, okay, and it's actually down here in the plan. Where would it be in elevation? It's over right there. Corner A is touching the picture plane. That means that the height that I have here, because that's touching the picture plane, I can take that as a true height. And technically, this whole face, I just get red here. And imagine now, as I said, we're drawing it without the roof on it. This whole face, technically, is on corner A. So any heights that are on this face, which is the various steps, because corner A is touching the picture plane, I can take that height as a true height, and then I can take the height for the next step and the next step, vanish those backs to help me locate these points here. Okay, so that's how I'm going to build that first section. So from corner A, step number 1, I'm going to bring down corner A from here all the way down. Corner A touches the ground right there. Labeled it A. Now, to start off, I'm going to start off by measuring up what is the height of corner A. 10. Do I have another height for the next step up? Yes, that's another 10. And another height for the next step up, that's another 10. So I'm going to do 3 10s from corner A. So corner A is touching the pitch plane, so I can measure up straight up. So 10, 20, 30. Now, the very first one, I'm going to heavy that line in, because that is the first stage for corner A. Now, this face, okay, sorry, lights are going out there, guys. Just want to move slightly. As I was saying, this red face that we have here, that I'm after shading in, okay, is all along this edge here, okay, which is technically this one in my plan view. Because it's this one in my plan view, any points that I'm after taking up here, they're going to vanish in this direction, which will be in the direction of VP1. So from here, VP1, now the first step obviously is this one. The second step is in between this height, and the third step is in between this height. The question is, they're further back here, because corner A is the only one that's actually touching the pitch plane, but all the other ones are on the same plane, the same surface, okay, which is this red surface here. So if I want to find any of those points, what I need to do is I need to locate them here in my plan view, okay? So the first step was right here. I found that. Here's where the second step begins, okay, in the plan view. So I want the spectator's view of that. So what I do is, this point, line it up with my spectator, bring it down to the picture plane, I stop it at the picture plane, just for neatness. The third step is here. Okay, and then another point that I may have in a minute is this one here. Okay, now all of those have been brought down. Now the other one, the reason I brought this one down here, that point right there, technically would be this point here. I'll just go back to my model, just to find it. It's that point right there. This point here. So that's the point I'm after finding. If you remember, I said imagine this bit of the roof wasn't on it. So it's that point I'm after finding. What height is that? That is at a height of 60. And because it's on the same red surface that we have at the front, I can also measure up 60 millimeters. I can use that as a guide as well. That's 60 there. And from there, I'll vanish that one back as well. Okay, now I want to find all of those steps. So, where every one of these was brought to the spectator and hit the picture plane is the person's eye view of it, I'm going to now bring them down. There's the first one, second, third, and I also need this one, which is the back edge, the fourth. Now, I have everything here that I need to actually draw in this structure. It's just a case of heavying in the right parts. So look, it goes up one, back one. And then it goes up one, back one, up one, back. So, up, back, up, and this one then goes back as far as there. You can see the structure being built up. Okay, now I'm here. From here it goes up. Now, I know I said it was closed off, so imagine if it was closed off, I'd be putting a line in there. That would be this line here. I'm not going to heavy it in because I do know later on, obviously, that's where my roof starts. But this is just to give you the guide, okay? Now, this edge here, this point right here is there. So that's going to go heavy all the way down to to the base. There we go. And then that goes heavy over as far as here, which is in line with this guy. So it's in line here. So now I'm going to draw that in. Now, how high does this go up? It's at the height from here up to here. It's at the height of the second step up, followed across. So the second step up is, look, 1, 2. So it goes up as heavy as far as there. Okay, now this one connects all the way over to here to where the first step kind of is, as this line comes down. So that's to this point. So I can connect those up. And there we go. Okay, so there is the first face of the object almost complete. This edge in here, technically there'd be an edge kind of you'd see inside there like that. From there, that's running in this direction. It's going in this way. So because it's going in this direction, I'll vanish that over to VP2. Ever so lightly, but I only need to heavy in that portion. Okay, now we've kind of got all that front red face there. I will put this in just ever so slightly darker. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to work on the green steps. So if I come back in here, I'm going to start working on there, up here. There we go. I want to start working on these green steps here. Okay, so those green steps, this one, this one, this one, and I want to work on the yellow faces as well. Okay, so if I want to find those, the green steps are running in this direction. Here, 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 and there. So any points that I know I'm going to need, I'm going to project them down to my spectator. So I know I'm going to need this one. I'm going to need this one. I'm going to need this one. And just looking there, where's that one coming from? Oh, that's the edge that's running underneath it. That's absolutely fine, don't need that. And then I'll probably need this point back here as well. Okay, so there's all those ones. Just thinking, do I need any other ones? I think I might need, no, I'll be okay with that one. Okay, so there's all those ones. I'm going to have to bring them down. I have them ready. Now, from all of these points here that I have on the drawing, okay, because all those faces are running in this direction, they're all going to vanish over to VP2. So, for VP2, I'm going to connect this one to here. So the next one. Next one. I'll just continue that sequence. And get this one as well. Okay, as you can see, they're all after vanishing back. Now it's simply a case of finding or determining, I suppose, the endpoints. So this one will be, for the first step, if I just put in, go with a green, sorry there. Let's say I want to get this face here, just to start off. Start off with that face there. Let's say I want to get that face. So I need to find this point, which is somewhere along this line. Technically, it ends right here. So where that came down, and hit my picture plane, in line with the spectator, I'm going to bring this down, and there you go. That goes as far as there. Now that I've found this one, can I find this one? And then we'll get the overall height in a second. So this one, out here, is this point up here. So bring it down where it hits the spectator, or where it hits the picture plane in line with the spectator. Project it down, and there we have it. Where it hits here on the ground. There we go. Okay, so there's that first little bit. Now, next little bit, we have to work out the height, which is this section up here. So how do I work out the height? The height of it actually is over here, and you can see that height, it's 30 millimeters up. 10, 10 plus 10. That little section there is 30 millimeters high. Now what's helpful here is this green face, like we did previously with the red face that was going along this side, what's helpful about this green face that I'm after shading in is that, once again, that can actually be measured off of this one right here. And the measurements that I've used, here's the first 10, 20, and the 30, the second and the third 10. From this third 10 here, if I vanish that one back in this direction, because it's all, corner A is actually on this face as well. As I vanish that back, that can give me the height there. So now I'll heavy that in. There we go. And there we go. There is the first face starting to take shape there. Okay, that green face. Now that green face is helpful to us because that will help us figure out the rest of the steps in here. And you'll see how. Because from here, the step is going to obviously go inwards if I go back out to my object. So the step is going to go in, up, and in. So to actually build that going across from here, it makes sense that it's going to go to VP1. Okay, so we can make that first little step there. Just start to heavy in information here now. So there's the first little step. Now from here, it obviously goes straight up. Heavy in the platform for the next section. And we just continue to build. Now from here, back to VP1 again. Heavy in what's important. There's the second step. And finally, we'll work on to the last one. And just to get the last little platform here. And from here, back there like that. Heavy in this little section. You can see it's starting to really take shape now. Okay, now the next little bit I'm going to work on is this little edge up here. So that actually will come up to there like that. I'm not going to heavy in this bit here just yet. I think I will be able to in a while, but I'm going to just leave it kind of around that kind of lighting there. Now, what we've kind of got here, we're nearly there. If I just come back out to our model, I've now found this point here. And what's helpful about that point is that will identify this edge to us. Okay, so I can actually straight up connect this point to here. Okay, we're nearly there. Now the one that I'm missing is this outside one. I've got the inside one, I need the outside one. I've got one point, I have to locate another. So how would I locate another? Now if I come up to my drawing in the plan view to locate that, a little bit awkward here, it would actually be this point right up here. Okay, now remember what I said, imagine we're building it up from the start if the roof bit wasn't on it. So if that roof bit wasn't on it, this point here would vanish over to VP2. Okay, and then if I wanted to find the back edge, I could bring this one down, but the one I'm actually, sorry, you can't see it there on the screen, I could bring this one down to the spectator where it hits the picture plane, drop it down, I'll get a point here, and that could vanish and then bring it down. But the point I'm actually realizing that I need is this one. Okay, so if I find that point, the spectator's view of it, that's where it hits the picture plane. Where it hits the picture plane, bring it down. And what's helpful here now is I've got that point. I can now connect that to that. And I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Okay, we can see it there. So a little bit of work in that. Just fix the camera there. So that one came from the point that was all the way up here. So this line that was connected all the way up there. Okay, so there is actually the object. If I was to manage this one back to here, that would be the object actually completed there. I'm not heaving in any of this stuff up here yet. That would be the object completed, provided there was no roof structure onto it. Now the problem we have obviously is we have to add that roof structure onto it. That's the bit that we have to add in now. Okay, and this is the bit that really, I suppose, tests the higher level guys a little bit more. And I'm going to come down here and just note something. It says here, use an auxiliary vanishing point to locate the sloping edges of the roof. If you do not do that, you can lose marks. They want us to use an auxiliary vanishing point. So, first of all, what is the angle of our roof? The angle of our roof is at 30 degrees. So that's the important angle that we're going to have to use. So, I'm going to bring you in to do that now. Now, first of all, I have to identify where is the roof actually going at 30 degrees from? Okay, I'm just thinking it'll be going down here like this. The roof is going in this direction, so I'll be vanishing from this direction here, and I'll be going 30 degrees down. Yeah, and I could go 30 degrees up. Sometimes there's just a little bit of figuring out in these guys, so apologies here, just make sure. So face isn't going in that way. Yeah, okay. So for the roof is actually along this face here. That's where the sloping 30-degree angle is. If you imagine the roof is here and it's sloping upwards at an angle there. You just follow the pencil is sloping upwards, and that 30-degree angle is in between the pencil down here. Okay, because that's where the 30-degree angle is, I'm going to be using this line here to create that. So I'm actually going to be using a protractor. Okay, I'm just going to grab my protractor there. So with your protractor, what you're going to do is you're going to set your protractor up on the spectator point. The center point of the protractor sits on the spectator, and the 0 line will sit on this line here. So there we go. Now, the angle I want to create is 30 degrees. There's my 30-degree angle. Okay, having done that, from the spectator, do a line like that. That angle, as I said in there, is the 30-degree angle. Now, very important, from this line here, we want to now go perpendicular to that line. So, the way I often do it, put the 45-degree set square on this line. Rotate the set square. I've now got a perpendicular line. Now that I have it, I can draw it in. Okay, now what's helpful here, that 30-degree angle, that was the line where my perpendicular line, put a little perpendicular symbol in there, where the perpendicular line intersects the 30-degree line, right there, that is my height from there to there for my auxiliary vanishing points. Okay, and that there is my 30-degree angle inside here. Okay, so with my compass, I'm now going to take that height there on my compass, and from VP1, I'm going to do above. I'm just thinking which way is it going. It's actually going below the line. Apologies. So I'll do it down here. Apologies for that. And all I need to do from VP1 is extend down. So depending on which direction, because my roof is going to be going up like this, so that means I had to go below VP1. So this here, this point right here, I'm going to call it AVP. AVP stands for auxiliary vanishing points. Okay, so to complete the rest of the drawing now, all we have to do, if I want to get the outside part of the roof, which is coming from here and here, just go back out to my model. I want to get the outside part, so I'm trying to get, take it, this edge and this edge, those two edges there, to get that part of the roof, and then get eventually this line as well. To get that, what I'm going to do is from AVP, I'm going to extend this point through AVP, and the same with this one. Okay, and you can see where they are going up in this direction. Now I have to find where that ends. It's actually going to end at point A, because A, if I just come to my sheet, where that part of the roof ends is in line with point A. So from point A, when that was projected down, so make sure I'm accurate here, point A, where that was projected down, it's hitting in there. So I'm on the money. There we go. I know it's slightly almost going into my spectator a little bit, so I'm just conscious of that. And there we have it. There is that first part of the roof. Now, the bit that's running along the front, this section here, okay, that's horizontal with the ground, so that can actually go to our normal vanishing points. So that is running in this direction, so that can actually vanish over to VP2. Okay, so it's running in that direction there. Now how do I find where it ends? It's ending over here. Follow it down, bring it down. So follow it here, hits your picture plane. There we go. And we're almost done. Okay, and then the next little bit, just to be able to complete it from here, just to show you, which is this point, we'll connect into there. Now, if I'm accurate, and we'll see what this is like. My accuracy is actually pretty good. You can see it lines up from there, connecting into here, and it goes to my AVP. So I know I'm bang on the money there. And now that I've that done, I can heavy in this bit and this line the whole way across. I wasn't sure about that line until the end. And there we have it. Okay, there's the question complete, guys. Quite a bit of detail in that question. I don't think they get as hard as that anymore in, I suppose, problems nowadays in the more recent Leaving Cert years. But that is a very, very good skills question there, showing you how to use the auxiliary vanishing point. I just had to kind of play around with it there, just kind of, sometimes I have to have a little think myself, and it was below my VP1 rather than above it. If it was above it, my lines would have gone downwards, which I knew wouldn't have worked out. Okay, so you have it, guys. That there was the 2010 Leaving Cert DCG perspective question. Hope you found it helpful.